Okay, welcome back. So we have just loaded two fonts. So I am going to click on the T tool and I'm going to click Read More. And I'm going to do lowercase and then uppercase M, M-O-R-E. Now, one of the things that happened in between this little moment is I went to go select a new font and I had a little pop-up window show up, which very often you do get when there's a new program. There's all these new things that say, check out this, check out that. And it said, you can load fonts a new, easier way. And so I clicked on it. And so now I have this thing here where it says fonts, find more. So I can click right on here and it links me to all those Adobe fonts. And the other thing that's happening too is it sees that I have read more here. So it's showing me all these fonts with my specific text in it. So I can scroll down and these are all the fonts alphabetically that you can access from going and again using the Adobe Creative Cloud link. So this is a shortcut. So you can do it either way. If you get that message and you want to go and load this Find More, go ahead and do that. So now I had selected two new fonts. So one was, sorry, I'm going to go back and get out of Find More. I just unclicked and I'm going up here. So I would go and click to the fonts that I have loaded. So the first section of fonts here are fonts that I've been using recently, and then below here are all the fonts that I have loaded that are in alphabetical order. So one of the ones that I just loaded was Aten, if I'm saying that right. Okay, so that was one of them. I'm going to make this larger. I'm going to click on it and I am going to scroll to make it 72 points. Okay, and then I'm going to copy and paste on the other one up here, and I'm going to select this text and I am going to go down to the other font which I had selected, which starts with Z. I don't remember exactly how to pronounce it. I'll know it when I see it. Oh, sorry, I went too far and I ended up in all the, you go too far and then you end up with all the foreign fonts, and then I have it under Z. See it. Here it is right here. Z-Tongue Pro. So I can click on that. So now that I see these bigger, I'm not confident that either one of them are right. I don't love the way this R looks on this font here. So I am going to copy and paste this again. And so now that I have this handy little option here, I'm going to try that out again. So I am going to Find More, and it is still small looking at these different ways that you see these fonts. So it is hard, but oh, look, see, so it changes. See, I'm learning more stuff as we go along. So as I click, it's actually changing the font right there. I don't love that the squared on the top of the serifs there. I could go on forever. Now this takes time to really find a font, so I might skip this part. Oh, I kind of like that. So I'm going to see if there are heavier weights. So let's see. Semi-bold is too much. Medium. Okay. Sorry, so that didn't seem to stick. Let me go. That was Acumen, not condensed. See how condensed that is? That's not what we want. That's not what I want. There's a million of these fonts, this particular font. Medium. Let's condense. Let me go up here. If I can expand this window. Doesn't look like I can expand it wider so I can see the whole title, because there's so many of them. They have very long titles and I can't see the whole title. That's extra condense, 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 condense. They're in alphabetical order, so what I'm looking for isn't necessarily easy to find. All right, let's just go with there. Okay, so I am not going to, I'm not confident I have the perfect font here. I would probably spend more time looking at them. And out of these, I actually like this rounded one because I like the basic shape of these letters. I'm going to make it larger. So you really want to spend time picking out the right font. I'm going to move those over the side and just focus on this, okay? So I have this font here. I am going to copy it and paste it and put it aside for a moment, because what I'm going to do is I am going to turn my type into outlines, okay? So what I mean by doing that is I select my type with the arrow tool, this doesn't work, not selected that way, but selected with the arrow tool, and I go up to type and I say create outlines, okay? So now what I have is my type is no longer clickable as type. See, it's got all these little points on it. So I'm going to blow this up. So these points can be manipulated. I can drag this up, move this over. I can do all these crazy things with these points. And one of the things I can do is I can select the center of something and delete the points there. So one of the things that happens when you are an illustrator, it will delete the first point that's highlighted, and then a second click, the points that weren't highlighted turn black or turn blue, and you can delete them. So again, I clicked here, and one clicks that first point, two deletes the other points. But that's not what I want to do with this, so I'm going to Command Z all the way back. Okay, so what I want to do is turn this into a book. So each one of these letters are connected, and if I want to get the individual letters, you can ungroup the word sometimes, and it works. It did work. Sometimes it still sort of joins together. If you're having trouble with the letters actually separating, what I do is I go to my white arrow and I would drop down across that. I would cut that letter and paste the letter, and that would separate it from the group. Okay, so now I have this M separated. So one of the things that I want to do is probably stretch it out a little bit. So if I just go and pull this, what's happening when I stretch it is the thickness of this is stretching, but the thickness here is not. So that's not exactly what I want to do. If I want to expand it, what I'm going to do for right now is I'm going to copy these points, and I am going to move this over. That's the best way to do it. Command Z. Okay. I am going to select just these points. Oops, I'm not on the right tool. You need to be on the white arrow. I'm going to select these points and move this over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You see, every time you move something, it's not a perfect compromise. So again, I'm selecting on this side, but I'm not selecting this point, and I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now I'm going to play with this one. Now see the way when I pull this, there's no second handle here. So to get a second handle, what you do is you go to your pen tool, and there's this little teeny tiny arrow under it. Anytime you see a little arrow under any of these, it gives you more options. So I'm going to click on that, and it shows me I can add a point, delete a point, or I can manipulate the anchor point tool. So by clicking on this tool, I can click and pull out more points. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so I can also delete a point. If I click here, I could delete that point, which I'm not sure I want to do because I might want to play with this. Actually, let me delete that. So that cleans it up a bit there. But I want to get that book feel that moves around. So you know what I might do? I was thinking that perhaps what I do is I leave this M the way it is because that sort of cleaned it up in a nice way. And I add some shapes here to create that book feel. So if I go here and I create an ellipse, and I'm just sort of winging this. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this. I did do my sketches, but I hadn't really totally figured out how I'm going to create the effect of book and movement because I may have jumped on the computer too soon. So at this point, sometimes I will go back and I'll do some sketches and figure out, oh, how do I want these pages to look? So one of the things I'm thinking is maybe I want to make it a rounded shape so it feels like a book. So I'm going to unclick here. I'm going to pull this point over here and this point I'm going to push in there. And I'm going to look at how that looks. It's got possibilities. So now this shape here isn't perfect and smooth yet, but I'm going to copy this shape, paste, and I'm going to rotate it so I can align it here. And see if I start to like the look of that. Now that looks very chunky compared to the thinness of these lines here. So that's probably not the look I want. So let me copy this and paste it. I like to save things I'm working on in case I want to come back to that. So what I may do is I may take this tool and I may push this up in here to see if I can get the shape of a page and use this as, if I can get the thickness right, maybe that becomes a page. Let's see, I'm going to move this one out of the way. This curve here isn't really quite beautiful. So what I can do now is I can go over to this tool and I'm holding on it till I get the options, and I'm going to add a point in here and I'm going to add another point here. And the reason why I'm doing that is I don't like this shape. I want to put a little more of a curve in there, and I'm liking that a little bit more. I was thinking at first I might want this to be totally rounded like the bottom here, but it feels a little bit more like a curved page this way. So I might go in here and manipulate this point just a little so I can pull down here to flatten that, and then I can pull this up to open it up a little, and I can shut and play with these points. I expect you will get frustrated with what you're doing early on because it does take time to really get a handle on these little handles. And we will spend much more time working on this. So don't bite off more than you can chew, but don't expect too much from yourself right away as well. So I'm going to look at this and I'm going to copy and paste it and play with this curve. So maybe I'll pull that out. I'm going to stretch it a little and push this one in, roll it back a little because I'm trying to get the sense of multiple pages here. Now this curve here isn't great. I'm going to try to click on here and pull these handles out just a little. I do try to get it the way I want it to look the first time, so I'm not making the same change on both because I want them to be really pretty much identical, but these two obviously aren't identical because I want